Okay, thank you for waiting, and I'm happy to see you all here. Yes, and I guess I will need to hurry up and not be boring. So the title of my presentation is "These are the droids you're looking for." To be honest, I was really on a fence to how to call these presentations. Is it shit I found in bug report? Is it Android is hard? But I hope this works. My name is Elena Kovakina. I work for Google, and I'm currently part of Google's internal detection and response team, working with digital forensics and incident response. But over 11 years in Google, I've worked with multiple projects dealing with anti-abuse, security, malware in Google. So basically, over this time, if it's bad and it's targeting Google or Google's products, I probably worked with it. Very modest. As for my passion for Android, I've been analyzing Android malware for over 5 years as an Android security analyst. My hobby is reading Android bug reports for fun because I have no life. For all the people around me, I'm that Android person. Also, somebody called me ransomware queen at some point, but it never took off. What am I gonna be talking about today? Well, we'll start to just hitting the common ground, trying to understand what is Android anyway. We will move into app-level security because we will be mostly talking about app performance on a device. I will probably mention a bit about root. I will introduce you super sophisticated tools that I use in my everyday work. And then we will move on straight into the exciting things that a humble bug report can tell. And I probably will find also some things that you will never find in bug reports. And if we have time, we will maybe work on some practical examples. And if you're like me, a person with 30-second attention span, you probably want to have something to have your hands on while you're listening or not listening. So I prepared for you a folder with goodies. Honestly, it's not malware. So here is the link. This link will also be on most of the slides. You can go to the folder where I prepared some bug reports for you to take a look at. I will be later showing you things about them. And there are also some handy cheat sheets that you can take with you. And let's, I like putting this warning on. After this talk, you might actually become that Android person to whom everybody runs for advice. Because believe me, I've been answering questions for, my friends, family, and neighbors and neighbors about Android, about what's going on Android device. And now I'm kind of, as I moved into Google's internal security team, I answer it for all of Google. So what are those questions that I answer on, well, almost daily basis? Well, not every day, actually. Yeah, one question. Why is this app trying to send a text message? Well, it was a system warning but the user got confused because who knows what happens on that black box called Android. How did suddenly an app got on the device when the user did not install it? That was a real case. Well, app was pushed by system level OTA service. It wasn't nice. Or what the hell actually happens? Because sometimes users really get confused as to what actually happens on device, happens on the screen. Why is the device suddenly vibrating or losing battery or all other stuffs? And basically the crucial question is my phone hacked? And to answer that, of course, I'm kind of always happy to take a look at the phone, to see what's happening there, to break it a bit. Well, like everybody, I guess, in this room, I like breaking stuff, but when you actually want to help users breaking the device by breaking into it, is kind of not nice, because you want the device to stay useful. But if you want to go step by step onto being able to diagnose problems on device which sometimes does not belong to you, and sometimes it's not even geographically here, crucial knowledge is to know what can an app do on Android, and what are all those underwater currents that are present in place on Android, how we can monitor a device in real time, just to look under the hood a bit. How much information you can get out of Android device without root, or without access to device itself, actually. As I look at my slides now, I got another question to myself when I was making those slides. Is it actually an iPhone on the slide? But all right. Let's move on and first take a look at Android system as such. I guess who here never ever came across any Android device ever? No, nobody. Okay, so at least everybody knows Android. So basically Android is based on Linux kernel, which and on this level it deals with hardware of a device. A hardware level in Android is actually very important and very challenging, because as Android is currently running on phones, tablets, cars, TVs. My treadmill runs Android. I'm not kidding you. So this is immense amount of hardware to adjust the system to. So the architecture of the system supposed to be able to be flexible enough and secure enough at the same time in order to deal with this diversity of different hardware. So as we move up the stack through the hardware abstraction levels, through native libraries, and all the way to the Android runtime where apps run. And if we look at even directories on Android device are similar to single root Linux system. It depends on the device massively, but certain folders are mandatory. No Android device can function without them. And it's all very similar to Linux, apart from one thing, about which I will be talking a bit later. And with all that, where are the apps? Well, apps are all sitting in their nice sandboxes in Android runtime. Crucial part of Android is not only all the apps are running in their own runtime, but every app is treated as a separate user of the system, with its all privileges and its all access levels. If we talk about anatomy of Android app, its simplistic model is the app basically consists of DEX code, manifest, and resources. And Android manifest is crucial because this is where all that app can do is defined. And here are the key terms with which I will be operating, talking about Android apps, which are permissions, intents, broadcasts, and activities. Basically, permissions. Many people, most people probably know about the concept of permissions is the app's request to access certain APIs, and they're not granted. They're not necessarily always granted. Intense is a message that app requests actions from component of an app, and activities are main built-in blocks, and broadcast is the way apps communicate. Basically, intense is what the app intends to do, hence the name. Activities is what the app actually does. Permissions is what the app is allowed to do, and broadcast is how the app is communicating about it. And if you look at the simple classification of apps that you will find on Android device, those will be system apps, which will be in system directory. They are normally pre-installed and part of the system and can have very privileged access to devices' key features. And they normally cannot be removed by anything other than flashing device with the new system or with a system update. User apps, those are most common apps that sit in the data partition, and they can be pre-installed or installed by user itself. They are basically very limited, and the access is limited by granted permissions. And I'd like to mention root apps, because those are apps that rely on presence of root user, but that's the thing about Android, that by default, majority, hopefully there should be all out-of-the-box user devices do not have root user. And that is done for a reason, because with big power, and root is very powerful on Android. With big power comes big responsibility, and mobile devices turn into bricks really nicely. But even without root, some system apps are pretty overpowered. For example, this is our favorite overpowered system app called Google Play Store, which has a service called Google Play Protect, which is pretty much, it's a very old system. I'm delighted to be part of this product for 6 years. It's the built-in app verification service. It used to be actually called Verify Apps, but it was rebranded as Play Protect a couple of years ago. So basically what it does, it has power over apps that no other app, even anti-malware app like mobile antivirus has, because it can block installation of apps that are known to be harmful. It periodically scans and removes harmful apps, and for apps that it cannot remove, it disables them so that they just sit there doing nothing. And probably you're surprised how it can be super powerful but not being able to remove. Well, unfortunately, sometimes in very rare occasions, there is something not very good in system directory of some devices of some manufacturers, and as I already explained, system apps cannot be just removed, even by Google Play Protect, which is a system app but not a root app. And I'm really hopeful that 99% of users will never actually even know that Play Protect is there, because you will only know about it if there is something bad and on the phone present. And 99% of users, normal users, not crazy users like me who just finds malware everywhere, they will never see any notification from Play Protect. With that in mind, a bit lyrics about the root. As I said, root is very powerful, and sometimes people have a good reason to use root. For example, people that are power users of Android that want to tweak with the system itself, play with the OS with different features, even develop and introduce new features to the OS. There are basically good and bad ways to root a device. Good way is for people that just like playing with the OS, and for research and geekery. Android being very developer friendly, there is a way to flash a custom ROM, unlock a bootloader and flash a custom ROM onto device which has root user. But even then, please know what you're doing, and hope it's not your favorite phone. Don't do it on your main phone. And something that is kind of a bad way of rooting is using rooting apps and exploits, because most rooting apps just use rooting exploits, so they will be by every anti-malware service, including Google Play Protect, they will be treated as malicious. And also for user devices, for most manufacturers, once you break the security model by rooting device, you kind of on your own, like it's instant void of warranty, and if you break the device, it's yours. So please don't do that. But luckily for most of the users, there is no need to root a device, and for researchers and responders and forensicators like me, there are plenty of ways to get at least some data from a device without relying on overstepping the boundaries of the system. And getting back to the question of compromised devices or devices with strange behavior present and users freaking out, not knowing what to do, what is happening. For the researcher, the first question would be how to get into it and how to get logs, which will be telling what is actually happening there. Well, here is my super favorite and super sophisticated tool set that allows to do most of the stuff for security research. It's basic. I'm really happy that Android SDK actually and SDK tools are not only for development. They provide very useful tool set that can be used for development, but can be also used for debugging, for monitoring, for tracking network activity, for dumping memory. Which is useful when you're trying to understand what the hell is happening in the black box. But also bad news first. Unfortunately, most of the logs on Android are not easy to get, even if it's your own device, even if you have full access to it. Pulling some file databases and logs from your own device, it's kind of relatively easy. But if it's someone else's, you're likely out of luck, and especially if that someone else is not cooperating, then probably from a locked down Android device, which is encrypted by default, and there's no decryption key, you pretty much will be better off just getting logs out of an actual log of a wooden variety. So yes. But what you can use, if you have access to device, what you can use Android Debug Bridge, which is part of Android SDK tools, with which you can pull individual files for investigation, open shell, and browse the device, lock and lock features, make the device dance a bit. I won't be going on a lot about about the commands that are used by Android Debug Bridge and how to get it. In your goodies folder, I prepared a full cheat sheet of useful Android Debug Bridge commands. Which if you want to play around with it, please do. And here we come to the main hero of my today's talk, to my favorite thing favorite thing to read before bed is Android bug reports and how to read them. Once again, pay attention to the goodies. And actually, I wanted to actually play a game a bit. As I keep repeating that I have goodies. You can go to the goodies folder and download a bug report called bug report Insomni'hack. Try to go to this bug report. It's actually from this device. This device is unique. It's been my testing device for many years. It's seen a lot of malware. And answer the question, just name the place where it was, where that bug report was taken. Just name of the place. And email the name of the place to this device's email address, which you can also get from the bug report. And probably it will be easy if name of the place will be in message subject. Of course, hints will flow as we speak, because there's more than one way to do that, to try to just find the location of the device. So let's dive into the magic world of Android bug reports. A humble bug report is not just a snapshot of a device frozen in time. It can tell a story about the device, and this story can be used in forensics investigation. And in most cases, a simple bug report is more than enough to diagnose most problems. It includes a variety of data, a wealth of data from device, such as location and global environment, settings, features, alerts, including system alerts and errors, account syncs and uploads, apps data and their security. It also includes a lot of service logs, reports, messages, full syslog, and a lot of system dumps. How to take a bug report? Well, there are several ways. Most simple way is to go to developer options on the device, and there will be an option to take a bug report. Of course, you can do it if you have access to the device, like the UI is not worked. If the device is connected to your machine via ADB, you go ADB bug report and enter the name of output file. But actually, my favorite way of taking bug report, and probably the easiest, is just it depends on device, but you basically just simultaneously press all the three buttons: volume up, volume down, and power, and it generates a bug report for you. On recent device, bug report will be a big packed folder, but basically your main object of interest is the text file called bug report, whatever txt. So, and a bug report can answer three questions. First thing will be, what is happening now? A snapshot of device, what was happening on it at exactly the moment the bug report was taken. It will be a memory dump, full dump of memory of all the services there. Device state and settings, active settings, and the dump of services will be very exhaustive. Device location and environment, I repeat it, active broadcast, and much more. For example, if you want to know the settings of the device, in your bug report file, search for dump of service settings. And there will be three types of settings, such as global settings, which includes battery, ringtones, Bluetooth settings, security settings, such as lock screen, if the password is set, screen timeout, if sideloading is enabled, SLINUX status, and many more security settings, and system settings, which include like volume and hardware settings, and much more. Sometimes it will be important to know those settings just to understand the overall state of device. What is happening now, where device is? There are three things that can point at device location. First is geofence. which is GPS location of the device. Second is Wi-Fi network, Wi-Fi network connection, and radio state, which is connection to mobile services. And there are some things to start looking for just to get you comfortable dealing with bug reports. And by the way, there is a cheat sheet for bug reports as well in your goodies folder. You can find focused activities, the app that occupies the screen. You can get snapshot of memory and see what apps are active, which app is draining the battery, and so on and so forth. Get broadcast history, which is actually very, very useful for diagnosing system slowdown or super aggressive apps. And also get info about all the packages on the device. Those are snapshot insights. So what about short-term insights? The bug report will include log cut for short-term, normally a couple of days of what was happening on device. Most interesting part, at least from app safety point of view, is app manager messages in logcat. For example, as I already explained, a focus stack, which app is focused, which task is coming to front, which activity is crashing or not responding, and which processes are starting. You can learn more about App Manager by just probably googling all those commands and finding full list on Android open source project with those messages. And to demonstrate about an easy example, well, I couldn't probably have a single presentation without ransomware examples. Let's look at how we can find a ransomware app on device. Well, it's not really difficult to find it, because if ransomware comes, even though ransomware on Android is very 2015, the screen will be totally overtaken. So, and on old Androids, the user will be completely confused and not knowing what to do. Actually, this is a screenshot from an actual device with ransomware, and you have a full bug report in your goodies folder. So if you want to dig around that one, feel free to do so. So let's try to just find the name of the app. And we will do it by grabbing AM focused activity in that bug report. And here it is. A short timeline of apps that were occupying the screen. And here you see Google and Android Google Quick Search Box, which is a default Google search box system app, fighting for domination with weirdly named app, with weirdly named activity. And this is basically this app highlighted with yellow. This is our ransomware. So we found the name of the app. We will further investigate more of it. But let's move into more short-term insight, which is historic broadcasts. Broadcasts, as I have mentioned, they are the way apps are communicating in the and a lot of active broadcasts that haven't been sent must mean that there is some sort of overflow of app activity that can happen. That can be due to some malicious apps activity, some badly coded app activity, or just generally because of the phone being overcrowded and sluggish thereof. And another interesting short-term insight is service dumps. There are probably 100 of them that will be in any bug report. You can check how many different service dumps in your bug report just by grabbing dump of service. But some of the most interesting of them are surface flinger, which is what is on the screen, and all the activity on the surface of the screen. Connectivity, which is a short history of network connections. Content, which is a great way to see syncs of different accounts on the device. For example, if the device has a Facebook account, a Google account, a Wikipedia account, and those accounts are syncing, you will see their syncing logs, and will be able to get a summary of all those accounts through content service dump of content. Accessibility, enabled accessibility features, and if they're used, and the big service dump of all the activities intents and broadcasts on device, so that can be attributed to the apps that are using them. Another interesting service dump, which can really tell something about device, is dump of service notification. Notifications are those notifications that you get in tray of device when you pull it down. There will be a lot of them. If, for example, there are a lot of very chatty apps on device. If you can kind of parse this code yourself a bit, you can see at the bottom of it you can even understand that it's this notification is a stopped media player on Android device that was on tray, so it has thumb ups, previous track, pause, next, and thumbs down. And for example, if you have chat messages, sometimes those chat messages notifications will be in this dump of service. So sometimes it gives a lot of insights. For example, if a device is really overcrowded with apps. And now come for the exciting stuff, geofencing, which is device's exact GPS location. Each geofence is identified as a circle, which with the GPS coordinates and a circle diameter. Sometimes those circles overlap. Geofencing log is limited to 200 records, and sometimes can actually show trajectory with which the device was moving and which objects were coming into this geofence. To find geofences in the bug report, search for registered geofences. And there you will see circle coordinates, circle IDs, and a short log with transitions and with exact GPS coordinates of the device. And in this log there will be even not only location changes and removal of geofences, but also location relevant information, such as Wi-Fi connections and disconnections, which also can tell a lot. And now we move from short term. So far I've been talking about things that people normally think that bug report is limited to, which is short snapshot of what was happening on device within hours, maybe one day, or maybe just now. But there are long-term insights that have very useful information that can be very invaluable for diagnostics of what happened on device. And in particular, I'd like to talk about three long-term insights, which are actions about accounts creation and modification, Wi-Fi networks. An Android device stores information about every Wi-Fi network it ever connected to, and apps installs and apps information. And I'm more than sure that digging into bug reports deeper for different use cases, a researcher can always find more interesting long-term information. But let's so far just talk about this. If you look for dump of service account, you will see pretty much full history of when accounts were created and removed on device. And well, this snapshot is from device with only one account, but sometimes devices have more than one account. And as you see, it's historical. It's started from the recent hard reset of the device. Apps history is very interesting. Because bug reports contain very full information about every app on device, and it's not just name of every app, but app's user ID, install time, data location, how it was installed, installation package, app's permissions, app's status, and current state, because apps can be in different states. And sometimes if an app is in stop state, you will see the app that stopped it. So to do this, a lazy way to get a full list of apps on the device is to grab package from the bug report, or just search for package and the name of the app in square brackets, and you will get a full info about the app in this format. And very interesting stuff is, for example, this is for a root check app. Here is the code path. Here's the code path for it. And you see there is full information about such as version name and target SDKs, and user ID in both formats, which screen it supports. You will see on top there is first install time, the time when the app was installed, and when it was updated, and you see install package name, Android vending. It means that the app was installed from Google Play. And below you can see all the permissions of this app. This is can be got for every app. A bit more details that installer package won't be present if an app was side loaded or pre-installed or pushed via ADB. Permissions, there will be status not only if the app requested those permissions, but if they were granted, because some permissions are never granted. And if the app is in stop state, it will show as stopped state is true. And let's get back to our ransomware and see, because we got its name. Let's go and find information about it. So this is the information about this app. You can see where it was installed. You can see that there is no installation package, which means it's not coming from Play. And I'd admit I just pushed it on via ADB to show it. And if you start browsing this bug report, you will get more information about broadcasts and intents of this app. And you can, for example, find its activity on logcat. For example, it was trying to overtake the camera at some point. And another long-term insights, the last four in my talk, is Wi-Fi networks. If you search for dump of Wi-Fi config store, you will get all the Wi-Fi networks the device ever connected to, and when it first connected to it, which is also kind of valuable information. And sometimes there's some other stuff. For example, you looking at chatist apps and found some interesting insights about the usage of the device, what it's actually used for. Or sometimes it can out your music taste or lack thereof. That's actually from my own device's bug report. I found the media session with the name of the track I was listening. And that's all I wanted to tell you about the wonderful world of Android bug reports, and how it can be useful in your investigation and in probably helping people. Yeah. Yes, and I guess we are running to the end. I think I only have time to actually give you a. Actually, should I check if anybody emailed me? All right. Yes, we got a person that got it. Sylvian Heiniger. got the reply right. Yes. Yes, as I said, we're dumping the geofences, we find GPS location of the device, then we go to Google Maps, and here's the hotel where I stayed in Zurich. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you will find this information useful. I will be hanging out around here, so if you want to talk about it, chat about something, or want more bug reports, please come over, and it was nice presenting to you. Thank you for being a great audience.
We have 5 minutes for questions. Any questions?
All right, then.
So thank you for the talk. I was wondering, when you analyze apps from the Google Play Store, do you find any malicious apps that root the device of the victim and actually steal data? Did you encounter that?
Yes, there were some. Those apps, luckily, most of them were not in play. And luckily, they do not really work on recent devices, because I think starting from it's not really easy to, not much routine exploits that the apps use work. But yes, there were a couple of malicious families. I think they were also in the media a lot. But they are pretty much dead now.
Hi, I have a question about Google Play Protect. Two-step questions. First of all, do you analyze any signature of apps, or maybe it's about how app behavior, or maybe what data did they collect? And second question, do you analyze only apps that's installed by Google Play Store, or maybe from another sources as well?
Well, good questions. Thank you. There is a giant analysis pipeline which analyzes like billions of apps, and does ridiculous amount of scans. Most of it currently done automatically using machine learning and stuff. But there is also a big and growing team of reverse engineers and malware analysts that analyze apps. That do reverse engineering and analysis and signature making for apps both in Play and outside of Play, and Play Protect is moving to the stage where it's able to protect users from both that both use Google Play or prefer to sideload apps from third-party stores.
Okay. I have one question. You were mentioning the fact that you can do network activity tracking using ATB. Are there any plans to have something like that as an app on the device, built into Android? Because most malware could be detected due to the network traces left. I know that it's kind of a bit tricky, but I know that there are quite a few apps that allow to do that. Let's chat about it offline, because I actually have one of the apps here on this device. All right.
I think we can.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh.
Actually, I wanted to ask whether the introduction of app bundles has made detecting malware by Play Protect before publishing harder.
It's an interesting question. Of course, malware developers always want to kind of hide it, but this is why we have reverse engineers and security engineers and all the people that try to mitigate this extra difficulty of analyzing apps.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, time's up. You have 6 minutes of break before the next talk. Please, a round of applause.